holding a juvenile Juro spider. Until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you, like I always do, that enthusiasm is contagious. Well, you're looking high above the beautiful Double Bridges Farm, owned by the Department of Animal and Dairy Science at the University of Georgia. And speaking of that department, I am joined this month by Dr. Francis Fluharty. Hey, Doc, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So glad to be the department head of that department. And we're talking cows this month. And when cows eat, heck, when we eat, we generate methane. And I think about that methane and I think about greenhouse gases.
Yes.
And I think about conversations that come up about that, whether an animal is fed grain or grass. Dr. Fluharty, what comes to your mind when we think about the outcomes of animals like that eating grass and grain and greenhouse gas?
What comes to my mind is that we have to eat, and these cattle are utilizing the majority of the cellulose that is in forages. Humans aren't able to digest cellulose, which is why doctors put us on lettuce and celery because they're high cellulose. Well, these cattle eat that grain and that grass, and they put it into an edible product, animal protein, that we can eat. The other thing I think about is there's a lot of misinformation about just how much greenhouse gas is being produced by cattle in North America. We measure everything based on CO2, carbon dioxide equivalents.
Right.
Methane has a carbon dioxide equivalent of 28. But then we look at all of the vehicles that we drive and all of the tractors that we drive that produce nitrous oxide.
Into the atmosphere,
Into the atmosphere. Nitrous oxide has a CO2 equivalent of 285%. As humans, we have to eat. Agriculture is critical to that. Animal agriculture is critical to that because it's high quality protein. And the reality of it is, protein energy malnutrition is the #1 cause of death worldwide.
So let's talk greenhouse gases some more. Let's talk about measuring methane, and let's talk to Hunter Perez. Hey, Hunter.
Hey.
Good to see you today. So Hunter and I are standing in front of this contraption. I'm not real sure what it does, but Hunter's going to explain it. Second-year Master of Science student in the Department of Animal and Dairy Science at UGA. Hunter, how does this thing measure methane from a cow?
So this is actually a C-lock system known as a green feed. And so each cow has a RFID tag, which is kind of its identification, electronic identification tag. And so when the animal comes into this contraption, there's a camera and sensor that senses that RFID. And then that triggers treats or pellets to be released. And contrary to popular belief, it's not cow flagellants that produce the most. It's actually energetic methane from the mouth that's being released when cattle are eating or eructating. And so once those pellets are down there, this contraption actually takes in those gases and takes them up that tube. And there's sensors in there that can calculate the concentration of CO2, carbon dioxide, and methane, and allow us to see that at different times of the day of what they're producing.
Does your research for your masters relate to this?
Very much so. So for my research, we put all the cows on a high grain diet and then abruptly switch them to low quality forage and high quality forage. And so that way we're seeing, hey, what's this kind of look like on a high grain diet? But also all pastures aren't the same. Some pastures are going to be higher quality, some pastures are going to be lower quality. And so being able to actually see the differences in methane production on those qualities is really important.
Well, the real reason we came out here today was to fire up the grill. And before we do and eat these yummy steaks, Doc, talk to us about what these animals were fed to make this look the way it looks.
Sure. The animal in front of me here to the right is an animal that was fed grain but was on pasture. And you will notice that it is much leaner from the standpoint of intramuscular fat, this fat that's within the muscle. It's leaner because that forage that it was grazing has a lot of vitamin A. And vitamin A is an antagonist to marbling. So the real reason we have feedlots is to improve the efficiency, but our market is based largely on marbling.
The appearance of that
meat. The appearance of marbling. So when we take animals off of grass and we put them into a feedlot, they gain more. An animal on grass may gain 2 pounds a day. An animal in a feedlot probably is going to gain around 3.5 pounds a day.
Okay.
So the one thing I'd like to say is that these 2 steaks between my hands came from the University of Georgia's farms, and the genetics are relatively similar. They're both out of Angus sires and Angus cows. The steak in the center came from an animal that was put on feed when it was about 7 months of age. It was harvested at about 16 months of age.
Okay.
Versus this steak over here came from an animal that was approximately 2 years of age.
Wow. See, I learn something every time we do this. Dr. Fluharty, thank you.
Thank you so
I
much.
so much enjoyed this, and I hope you all did too. You know what to do. Hop online before you fire up the grill and learn more about these steaks and learn other things that are going on the Farm Monitor. Until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you, as I always do, that enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you right back here again this time next month. See ya. Holding a juvenile Juro spider. Until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you, like I always do, that enthusiasm is contagious.